Good afternoon, good evening, and good morning, and welcome back to another episode of Battle Nations Radio. Guys, first and foremost, I want to thank everyone in the chat and just everyone here. If you're watching on replay game, anyone who's been a part of this, thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is our 20th official episode of Battle Nations Radio. We had a couple beforehand that were a little bit rough. Oops, getting a little feedback there. But this is a very, very special episode. And a little bit of a last minute planning here. So guys, my initial plan for this video is I had some stuff planned. Oh my gosh, it's John Gripper. What's going on, Judd? Acorn, I swear you changed your name on here. John Gripper, King Doge, what's going on, y'all? Guys, I did have something really special planned for this video because I thought guilds are going to be out by now. Happy Thanksgiving. But unfortunately, that's just not the case. So we're going to go a little bit of a different route today. I still kind of want to talk about guilds. Yeah, I think we will get the update this weekend. I think it's probably going to happen. I mean, if y'all are in the Discord, you've seen that there's a ton of activity. No update 2025. No, we'll get an update. There's tons of activity. In the devs VC, something is coming, guys. I'm gonna try playing some music. I made some quick updates to the setup, so if it's getting any feedback or anything like that, please let me know. And that is far. Guys, give me 1 second here. All right, there we go. What we're going to do about the video today is kind of a last minute topic today. I wanted to talk about something guild related, something that I'm somewhat passionate about, and something that's probably controversial. And everyone loves a little bit of a good controversy, a little bit of a debate. And with guilds coming around, I wanted to present what I think is my guild's hot take. And this by no means, if you feel, it by no means when I'm going through this, am I personally coming after any one specific guild? I am not. It shouldn't come off that way either, if I'm being completely honest. But I do want to talk about that today. And as you can see from the clickbaity title here, today we're going to be talking about feeder guilds and why I think they are I think they're a bad idea. I don't think they're good for the game. We'll let people start rolling in here, get all that taken care of. I appreciate everyone showing up. Please make sure to hit that like button if you haven't already. Then we'll go ahead and get into the topic. I kind of want to do my thesis, my introduction as to why I feel this way. Kind of have 3 main points I want to go over, and then in the end we'll wrap it all up in a nice little bow tie. And I'll talk about, do I think this is feasible for the game? How I would enforce it, if I would enforce it. A lot of open-ended here. And basically how I see this playing out. Will it ever come to fruition? That's a great question. Do I have the Kraken ready? Let's go take a peek. I don't think I should have anything ready, unfortunately. I wish I did. We're probably going to be getting a little bit of a BFC today, which is Bigfoot country, unfortunately. But yeah, no Kraken. We've been beating it. I do have 2 tentacles, which has been nice. But yeah, we can go ahead and check on that. I do have a clad, but we have announced that the episode before. First off, what is everyone's favorite Thanksgiving food? I just want to hear that. I'm really curious. I hope you all had a good Thanksgiving. But yeah, mine is I like stuffing. I put some breakfast sausage and onions in there, a bunch of seasonings, and we also make some cheesy potato sort of not souffle. I can't think of it. This cheesy potato dish that's really good too. I love that. But yeah, there's the clad. And so guys, let's go ahead and get started. Actually, let's do a little bit of a land collection here, and then we'll go get to rocking and rolling here. My first question before we get started is, does your guild that you're in have a feeder guild right now? Are you in a feeder guild? What does your guild structure look like? I'm kind of very curious to hear about that. We don't celebrate that here. Oh, that's okay. No worries. Well, I hope you had a good weekend, man. Probably could have a couple more wins, but I have a pretty good amount right now. Hey guys, let me know if I need to adjust any of the volume here. All right, how we living? How we living? Okay. Do one of each. And we'll go ahead, guys. Sorry, I just want to collect here. I've been slammed at work today, so unfortunately haven't had any time to take a peek. But we will go ahead and get things done here. All right, get that taken care of. Oh, full there. All right, how are we looking? How are we looking? Go get another turtle sheller. Trying to get 100 of those. Those will be nice. And we'd like to get them R6. But alrighty, guys. On to the main topic. I'm going to get one more thing trained up in the queue here. Yeah, we can train another one of these guys. And then we'll go ahead and get started. And there's Bigfoot Country. All right, perfect. So, guys, for tonight, the main topic of conversation is going to be feeder guilds. They're very prevalent in the game right now. I'm very aware of that. The guild that I'm in, P-War, has 2 feeder guilds, and I know there are multiple other guilds that have 2 or more feeder guilds. This is not a Battle Nation specific thing. This is you see this across every mobile game. I've seen it in previous mobile games that I've played. I'm going to need to adjust that volume on the computer. Sorry about that. We'll finish out this battle real quick. And my thoughts on that is that I don't think feeder guilds are necessarily healthy for a game's community development. And the reason that I think that is I think there are kind of 3 main points that we talked about earlier where I tend to have a little bit of discrepancies with them. I'm going to change the volume too so y'all can hear me better. Audio, let's crank that down. It's going to be very quiet. Anyway, with that being said, my first discrepancy is that when you have a guild that is essentially a super guild, call it, and that super guild having one guild and multiple feeder guilds or separate entities of guilds, you don't have to call them a feeder guild, whatever you want to call them, but when you have one guild that is a conglomerate that owns multiple guilds, that guild is essentially, number one, taking players away from other main guilds, and 2, it is not allowing for culture to thrive in different guilds. It's not allowing guilds to develop their each their own unique identity, or to let each guild, kind of compete against each other. It's essentially saying, okay, like I have this guild and this guild. I have 2 guilds, right? They're both in my conglomerate. One's my feeder, one's my main. These 2 guilds will have the exact same type of culture. And now, well, if you have a good culture and you want to promote that culture, that's obviously something that, you'd be an advocate for. You say, hey, I do want this feeder guild. I want to promote this type of culture that I have. And it may be if you're really about that and you're prominent for that, I think that's, that can be a good thing. But I'm also, why should guilds be referred to as nations? But I do think that my issue strives from the fact is that I want to. So my first point is culture. I want there to be a diversity of culture in the game, and by like community culture, if that makes sense. Each guild should have their own kind of niche and everything along those lines. I don't want there to be like 4 or 5 conglomerate guilds that consist of 5 separate guilds within that one guild that all kind of talk and think the same. I want there to be a very diverse group of guilds that allow for the game to attract different niches, attract different players, stuff like that. And my onto my second point here is, I don't want this to get to a point where the game is being dominated by 5 different mega guilds, or I'm just spewing 5 off the top of my head here. But I don't want to get to the point where the game is dominated by 5 different mega guilds, and then there are guild wars that take place, which will happen in the future, or there's boss strikes that take place, there are backdoor deals that will be made between these 5 guilds leaders, and essentially what you're going to have the game turn into is, instead of battle nations, it will turn into a bit of politics. And I don't really want to equate anything to politics here, to each their own on all their political views. But I don't want the game to become heavy into the politics. I understand with guilds and implementing a structure like that, there's always going to be some sort of politics in the game when you introduce a feature as guild wars or boss strikes or some sort of competitiveness, whether it's be a truce between guilds or here's our allies, here's our enemies. That's the fun politics of the game. But trying to say, hey, if we have a guild war, we'll beat this guild if you let us beat your guild, or X, Y, and Z. I've seen that in other games. I used to be an avid Warpath player. I know it does happen. So that's what I'm cognizant of, and I would like to avoid in this. And all right, one sec. I do have one more point that I want to make on this, but let's get to these questions first here. Don't you think this will all change after the first boss strike? Yeah, so that's going to be my third point, Clays, and I appreciate you bringing that up because it's a great transition. And Lux is saying, with this in mind, should guilds have more than 100 players each? Lux, I am of the opinion that for right now, for what the player base that Battle Nations has right now, the general estimate of numbers, which I think is about 25,000 players, no, I do not think that the guild should have more than 100 players. Now, with that being said, as the game grows and expands, I am open to the idea of expanding past 100 players. I think that's totally reasonable, but I think you have to let the game grow. I don't want the guilds to get so big, and this is Lux. This is kind of my point. Is like, if guilds were 300 players right now, we're going to have less guilds. We're going to have less personality in the game. If you only have a couple of guilds, that's no fun. The more guilds we have in the game, the better. And I understand that there will be feeder guilds, there will be everything like that. But when you're going to a feeder guild, you are taking away from another guild. And if you want to look at it as eliminated competition, that's a good thing. That is a good thing. If you're being selfish in this scenario, that is a good thing. I'm not saying if you like feeder guilds, you're selfish. That's not my implication. I just want more guilds to be established in the game, because I feel like we went through the guilds pretty recently, and it seems like there's a pretty steady 2025, and I want to make sure we are a community that allows new guilds to thrive, right? And on to my last point. This might be the most controversial, is that with feeder guilds and saying, hey, this is our top guild and then this is our feeder guild, when you are competing with your guild during events, if you're the top guild or you're in the feeder guild, you are not competing against other guilds. You are competing against your guild mates. Let me explain. So, if I'm in the feeder guild and I really want to spot in the guild above me, right? I really want to spot in the guild above me. I no longer, when I am playing a guild war or a boss strike or anything along those lines, I am no longer, my goal is to get a bunch of points, yes, but my goal is not to cheer my teammates on, go into VC, hang out with them, build up that culture, right? It's, hey, I hope that this X, Y, and Z doesn't do well in the main guild so I can then take his or her spot. And I don't know if this is making sense, but it's creating this competitive, you're becoming competitive against your teammates instead of other guilds. And I want there to be competition between guilds. I think when you create competition between teammates, that promotes hostility from within a guild, and therefore it doesn't create a good culture or a good community for the game. And my big focus here is creating that community. So those are kind of my points. And I want to address Lux, Clay's point here. Freaky hangout. I want to address Clay's point here. Is that don't you think all this will change after the first boss strike? Yes. So I actually think that feeder guilds are not a bad thing right now. And I know my title, my explanation says differently, but given that guilds aren't given that guilds aren't a feature in game and it's not as easy as, hey, click to start a guild, X, Y, and Z, there are real people who have gone out of their way to create these guilds, create these feeder guilds, create these environments to have people more involved in the community. As that's happening right now, I think that's fantastic. And to the people who are, taking on guilds, doing that part, that is really awesome. And I think that is kind of a must-have. Not a must-have, but it's good to see right now, and I'm really happy that those people are taking on that challenge, because it is hard to be an officer or manage a guild. I totally understand that. With that being said, though, I think once the first boss strike ends, let's take God, I can't even think. Let's take, I don't know if PSC is a feeder guild. I'm trying to think of who the most nonchalant person I can like. Well, so let's say there's Guild A and there's Guild A1, right? A1 is the feeder, Guild A is the name. Let's say, I think what's going to happen and what we're going to see a lot after the first boss strike is, number one, once guilds get released, we're going to see new guilds that we haven't heard of. Yeah, the Empire, I can do P-War, I can do MM, I can do any of these. I mean, most guilds right now have feeder guilds, and that's okay. It's like it's a casual version, right? And that's fine, but what I'm saying is like a feeder guild doesn't always mean casual. Now, if it's a casual branch of the main guild, I think that's a bit of a different conversation, right? If it's not a feeder, if it's a casual, and you understand that they're two separate entities, one isn't meant to feed the other, then I'm a little less harsh on the situation. But what I would say is that, number one, I lost my train of thought, but number two is as now that I remember it, as guilds come about in the new game, and we'll see a bunch of new guilds. Some will fail, some won't, as the game starts. I'm looking forward to that. But when that happens, we are going to see, hey, I was in this feeder guild and I didn't quite make it up to the big leagues, but I thought I contributed in a huge way and stuff. And then there's going to be these other guilds that, did a little bit better, or like, hey, we're the main guild. We are the main guild, and this is our culture. They're going to then take those people from the feeder guild who were like, trying to get to Guild A, and they were in Guild A1, but they actually go to Guild B, which is a different guild. And I think we're going to see some more. I think we're going to see some emigration from feeder guilds to other main guilds, and I think that's going to be healthy for the game as it allows for new guilds to thrive. It allows for more competition, and it allows for not only competition of how good are you at the game, but competition of culture. Like what play style attracts the most type of players? What community do you have? Like what's going on in the guild? And you want to see those fits, and I'm my worry is that what I don't want to have happen is a bunch of guilds will merge and it becomes even bigger conglomerates, and then that just creates. I mean, this isn't trying to be like an anti-corporation thing or anything, nonetheless. But I don't want there to be, just these big, these big five sort of deal, Big Ten, whatever you might call it. And there's no new and there's no new guilds. You can't really get into the major leagues anymore. The barrier for entry is too high. I just want to make sure that new guilds can prosper and new cultures can flourish in the game. And I want to hear y'all's thoughts on that. I know that was a huge rant, kind of just a little bit all over the place. And guys, I did have to think of this one on the fly. I have held this position. M&A in Battle Nations. I'm not 100% sure what that is. I would say being still in the early stages, and once promoted, other guilds will appear and returning guilds from the OG day. Yeah, I think we are going to see a lot of OG guilds return. We're going to see a lot of new ones come to fruition. I know there are a bunch of people who were in leadership roles when the game started back in the old day that don't want to be a part of it now, and vice versa. Maybe there were people who weren't ready for leadership roles back in the old day and are ready for them now. I mean, just like the game, we've also aged as a playing basis, and I'm pretty sure most of y'all played prior to prior to this game coming back. Oh, merger and acquisition. Yeah. And we will see that. I mean, I don't doubt for a second. And sometimes merger and acquisitions are actually good. Like, let's say that there are multiple. Let me go mute here. Sorry about that. Where was I? Lost my train of thought. All right, I get what you're saying, but I don't think there is truly a war to stop this from happening. If not stop, but create a culture that is similar to what you're saying. Yeah, Lux, and maybe I'm going too heavy on the culture aspect of it here. I want to make sure that, you know, it's not, I don't know how to say it. I want to make sure that the leaderboards are fun and frisky, if that makes sense. Back to Schmebo's Freaky Hangout reference. But I want to make sure, you know, hey, we don't know who's going to be the best. Like, oh, this guild's up and coming. It's not, oh, this guild has this feeder guild and they're hogging up all the talent. And if you want a shot in this guild, you got to go through the feeder guild through first and stuff like that. And you know, maybe that's how the game should be played, in all honesty. Like, I am not here to say that my opinion is right and your opinion is wrong. I am, you know, freshly open to the idea of debating this or just having a conversation about this, because I've been trying to kind of work out this thought process. As you can tell, I'm doing it live on air. But it's always just crossed my mind. And I'm glad they exist now, and I think that feeders will be pretty prevalent through the first 3 boss strikes. And the reason I say that is I think it's going to be hard to see a big expansion of new guilds until the game gets a good advertising campaign / multiplayer aspect of it underway. So I think we do have to wait for that. But yeah, I just, you know, the more unique guilds, the better, in my opinion. At the end of the day, that's all I'm trying to say. If you have a feeder, this is not an attack on you. I would encourage you to not change what you're doing because of what I'm saying. Not all minds think alike, but looking forward to what BM will cook up for us. Yeah. So at the end of the day, that's my little tangent. That's kind of my primary subject of today. Just wanted to get that off my chest. Get that off my chest sitting right there. Probably an unpopular opinion. That's okay. I probably didn't defend it very well, but I'm working on it. But yeah, I mean, what do we have? Like 6 devs at the same time in VC last night. We are truly in dev watch. I know my first prediction was November 14th for Guild Update, and then I believe November 28th I said for the first boss strike. Well, that didn't happen. And that's okay. I want them to take their time. They can talk about the War of 1812 and get that all figured out. No, but they're going to have something special for us. Yeah, Schmebo, our roadmaps weren't the best on here. I really, until we get some sort of announcement, I'm curious. I'm kind of going to refrain from making that. I'm going to refrain from making any more guesses, is what I'm saying, before we get any more announcements from the devs as to what's going on. And then Lux said, I think feeder guilds are good. There's a possibility that guild mates will fight, but there's also a possibility that the main guild or feeder guild can agree to break off and make their own culture. See, now, Lux, that last part is what I'm talking about, though. Like, if the feeder guild breaks off from the main guild, or it kind of becomes its own separate entity, I think that'd be cool. Or, like, even if it's a play on word. Like, let's say you have the Empire, and the Empire has this feeder guild. What if the feeder guild was called the Rebellion? They're not actually rebelling against the Empire or anything like that, but, you know, you're like, okay, they're kind of associated with the Empire, but they're kind of also doing their own thing, like completely separate and autonomous leadership. I think that'd be cool. That's more so kind of what I want to see. It doesn't have to be a complete breakaway, but the idea of this guild only exists for the sole this is a good way to say it. When a guild in game exists only for the purpose of feeding another guild, I don't think that's productive to the game in most cases. That's what I'm trying to say. If that guild is a feeder, there will be no investment in it in terms of culture. All the guild's purpose is to feed another guild. It is to be a host. That's a bad comparison, but it's to feed the other guild. It's not doing anything other than that. That's the main thing. And I do like friendly competition. Competition against guilds, not a guild mates. That's where I kind of see the issue. All right, let me see. Can you test 1, 2, 3? Because my page is frozen. Oh, there we go. All right, speculation is fun though. We had different info back then. Yeah. All right, so new timetables. Anybody think that we're going to get it this weekend? Am I the only one? What are people thinking? I mean, I'm just going to think we're going to get it every weekend until we actually get it. Internet is dying. Skynet is taking over stream. Okay, so I was dying there. That's good to know. Yeah, you were cutting off a bit, but you're good now. Also, yes, I believe it will be this week. Okay, perfect. You know what? As your evil twin, I'm inclined to match you this weekend. Nice. I do hope it's this weekend. All right, Clace was saying, can't you make your own guild with no WIMS 6 until SP boosts come out? Yeah, I'm not sure I 100% understood you. And yeah, my internet is fighting for its life currently, so sorry about that. Let me go ahead and turn off Wi-Fi on the other devices, okay? Sorry, that was weird. Yeah, let me get that figured out. Yeah, yes, you can make your own. You can make your own guild in this game, and I actively encourage people to make their own guild, but they're yet to find a home. I seriously do. Or band together with people who also might be homeless. But yeah, guys, as you can see, my the heavier tank grind and the veteran grind is my living hell. It is not fun. I'm hoping it's a little bit easier once boss fight comes out. Maybe some double SP. I thought about making a guild. It's just not something that I have the time to do. In all actuality, it's just I don't want to be an officer in a guild. I don't want to. I don't want to be a manager of a guild. I have zero interest in doing any of that, and personally. So yeah, that's just gonna be one that I'm not doing. Yeah, internet is fighting for its life. That is unfortunate. SP boost will motivate a lot of players and want to grind more units efficiently. Yeah. Once SP boosts come out, I think I'll be getting back to normal here. So that'll be nice. Yeah, recruit homeless people. That's what we should do. I'm not leaving P-War. I promise you, I'm not leaving P-War. I'm very happy where I am. I really like the culture in P-War, and I'm super excited to be a part of that. I'm just doing my daily YouTube rants. But I think we will see some shakeup throughout guilds. I just finished the super grind to R6. I still don't have supers. I'm just waiting for megas. Those will come out maybe next year. Well, obviously they'll come out next year. But maybe this year. I doubt it. But we'll see. I really do miss Infected though. I know it was kind of a waste of laurels and stuff like that, and I get it. But does anybody else miss Infected? Was that just a one niche? Like, how high are people? Are people sad now that it's gone? How are people feeling about Infected? Oh wow! My now we all know we're getting. All right, test. 1, 2, 3, test. Yeah, I think I'm back. All right, sorry about that, y'all. Can you all hear me? I'm glad I got 4 Colossi. I'm just waiting for Maulers, I guess. Bringer, that's awesome. Have you been ranking them up? I have 0 Colossi. Have you had fun with them? Has it been like a fun experience? I mean, I gotta imagine they're somewhat like wimps, but they do have that stun ability. Hobby Hangout more like my Hobby Hangout more like Wi-Fi went out. Yeah. You got the jokes today. I see that. You're good on testing. Perfect. Yep. Sounds like y'all can hear me. Sorry about that. I'm turning off the Wi-Fi on other devices. If anybody's better than technology at me, which probably I would hope most of y'all are. But yeah, no, in terms of fun sort of infected units I have right now, it's really got to be the Arch Cannoneers. I have those up to R4, I believe. I have 6 of them, so nothing crazy, but they can do a little bit of damage, and it's fun to use them. But I just have such a backlog of things that I really want to rank up, and it's going to be heaviers and vets. And since heaviers vets take less, I'll get them to R6 first, and then heaviers will follow after, along with turtle shellers. I have 4 bars into lightning troopers as well. Those I really want to get to R6. Bringer Chaos was saying they're super fun. Got them to R6. Went real quick nears. Okay. Yeah, no, that's a really fun pairing. I'm happy you got to do that. That's awesome. I really wish I had them. And Schmebo was saying, I have 3 Colossi. I'm looking forward to R6 them. They're fun. But if you have Wimps, you're not missing too much. Yeah, it's really just that stun ability. And that stun ability is a ton of fun. One second. It's done up here. Yeah, and Halkin said, would recommend waiting for Bigfoot. Easier to get a Colossus. You get the Bigfoot for BS, so you're not missing much, Hobby. I appreciate that. Yep, I have 49. I didn't get quite to 50, and I'm super bummed about that. But I have 49. I have 49 Black Nano, so I'm just waiting till we get Bigfoot, and then I'm going to infect a bunch of those, and we'll have a good time with that. All right, switching on next is, Lux, I somewhat recently graduated college, so this is I completely understand. This is Arc Raiders. Nice. I'm not familiar with Arc Raiders. I've seen a bunch of it come up on social media. I've been playing a ton of Battlefield 6, so maybe that's some competition. But what's the premise of Arc Raiders? I've heard a lot of good things about it. But yeah, this is a really tough time with college this time of the year. So I hope you're doing well, and if you have finals, I hope you're doing well on those. Bringer Chaos. The animations take less at Schmebo, and the attacks go quicker than the wins. That is nice. I think the goat of animations for going quickly is probably UMG, or I don't know. I feel like when I use UMG, attacks just go so quickly. It's so nice. Hey, Jet. I was gonna say Apex for your last, but yeah, I'm so ready. It's gonna be a ton of fun. I think my thing froze again. Nope, we're there. But yeah, I'm excited. I had this big thing planned for today because I really thought that guilds were gonna be out, but we're gonna get to see until next time. Your device is low, guys. Give me 1 second. That's not good. I thought my PC was plugged in, so give me 1 second. Alrighty, can y'all hear me? That should do the trick. It would help if I turned the power on. But yeah, no, I'm super pumped. I had something big planned for it. Didn't get to quite do it just because of they're not out yet. But we will. Hopefully that'll be for episode 21. And then Schwab is saying, I see your point, but Colossi are not useful in BS since we can't mass produce them. Look, Stans was saying, player versus everyone. It's interesting to see people help, betray, fight the Ark at the same time. I'm more of a helper. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I do like this. So it's kind of like a mass multiplayer sort of deal. Hey, what's going on, Boom Bus Radio? How you doing? Yeah, so my reason is I like when guilds develop their. Long story short, I like when guilds develop their own culture and their own community within the guild. I think that betters the game. And the reason I'm against feeder guilds, and this is more so as we get later down the road, the reason that I'm against feeder guilds is their primary purpose is to just feed another guild. It is not to develop a culture within the guild. People develop no attachment to the guild. It is literally nothing but just feeding another guild. And I would prefer for there to be more main guilds than more feeder guilds, if that makes sense. And that's it kind of summed up. I want there to be more of a purpose for guilds. All right, there we go. Yeah, I hope we get something Friday. If we get something Friday, there's a good chance that I'll probably be on early Saturday morning, maybe. Just so we can get the Euros watching and everything like that too. What's up, buddy? Sorry, I got my dog behind me. And hoping to do an emergency broadcast this weekend. Is all I'll say. I'd be really excited to do that. Kind of have a free weekend this weekend. So if we do see something come, I would expect to see me go do an impromptu live and just to kind of talk about guilds and go over that. So have y'all finished your heaviers, your heaviers, your vets? I'm guessing some of y'all finished them. Gotta be. These are just annoying to do. It's nice to do them at Bigfoot. They go quick. Oh, already did the tank killers. But yeah, they're a pain. They're not too much fun to do. I'm more so worried about get my heaviers up than my vets, which sounds a little bit crazy. But I have 33 heaviers, so obviously, yeah, that sounds awful, Schmabo. Way to pace yourself there, buddy. All right. Yes, sir. Looking forward to yeah, that'll be good. Digital Soju, how you doing? It's good to see you. Vets need 3 to 4 more bars. Yep, I'm doing vets and heavier. I'm doing vets and heaviers together, so obviously that's taking a little bit more time. But it's good, and I forgot to attack my heavier there. So oops. Damn, 4 days is insane. Yeah, it is. It is not fun. And guys, remember, please go ahead and hit that like button if you haven't already. I got to do a little self promo here, and make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're new here, guys. Also, we do have a couple additional YouTubers in the chat tonight. First one we got is Halkin. He does some good videos. I really like his Battle Nation shorts. They're really a ton of fun, so make sure to go subscribe to him. And we also got Boom Bus Radio. Boom Bus Radio and myself do similar content. They got a great duo over there. I had them on an episode, which is great. Go check that out if you haven't already, and go check out their stuff and go hit subscribe for them as well. Super fun duo. Great people to hang out with. So definitely recommend them. And speaking of the devil, they said, I think it depends on how a guild handles their feeder. HSC uses a second guild to allow players to drop in and out of the main guild if they need time off. Wars 2 guilds have their own culture too, I think. And yeah, and this wasn't a slight towards any specific guild, and I tried to get that out of the way first, but it is. Maybe I'm looking for something that doesn't exist, and I shouldn't expect to exist. But if I think that if you're in a guild, you should kind of get the good with the bad. You should be ready to get the good with the bad with the player. What I mean by that is basically, hey, look, like if I'm in this guild of 100 people, we have 5 people who are like going to be kind of busy this weekend or something like that. We're not going to kick them out. We're just going to the other 95% or so is going to just carry them. Or just pick up the slack where they left off, and I maybe that's just wishful thinking, but I just don't like the idea that people have to drop in and out of the main guild. If that I think the two P-War guilds work in similar ways for the long term at Boom Bust Radio. Requirement out of the way. Yeah. It's tough. I mean, the heavier tank and the vets are just not fun. I didn't mean to press that button. Oops. There we go. And guys, I want to reiterate tonight, I think people should keep their theater guilds. I'm not advocating for any sort of top-down bans on them or anything like that. I'm just giving a different perspective on how I view these guilds in the game. And personally, I think once we see more guilds, I think we'll see some of the theater guilds either disband or become their own thing as you know, kind of develop their own culture away from just being a theater guild. So that'll be exciting to see. Yeah, if you do vets by yourself, I gotta imagine you're gonna do them pretty quickly. Just they don't take too long, and if you wanna, and Schmeba, you should have documented your journey a little bit better because you will do just insane grinds so randomly. That is really funny to see, honestly. If y'all think the heavier grind is bad, just wait till the mega tanks. Those are not going to be fun. Although the mega tanks do have that third attack that is pretty nice. Which I do like. That third attack is pretty nice. Mr. Hangout, I'm not the insane grind guy, but all my daily pictures, they were in the Spartan chat. I know. I was just saying, you just create an Instagram that's just like BN Schmabo, and it's just every day you just post a picture of the new bar you got on a unit. That'd be funny. No, but yeah, it's there are some insane grind guys in our guild. That's definitely true. Is it cold out where y'all are? I know I'm kind of switching topics, and I guess we're shifting to the weather on the radio, which makes sense. But yeah, it's been freezing here over the last couple of days, and it's not been too much fun. No, I think one of my favorite units that I'm not ranking up currently is going to be the Turtle Shellers. Apparently, Megas will be easier because they will have a higher chance to insta-kill at BF as they rank up compared to heaviers. That makes sense. My general goal is to put a bar on something, anything, at least once per day. I just don't have that time. In Sweden, it's warm. That's nice. Hobby is no cap, crazy grinder. I'm not a crazy grinder, to say the very least. I am obviously upper echelon, as I have R5 heaviers and vets, but I'm by no means not like the 0.1% or anything like that. I consider myself pretty elite. I like to think I'm pretty good strategy wise, but I'm by no means a grinder. Got like 13 inches of snow here in Michigan over the last 3 days. Ooh. Well, that's brutal. I'm going to Michigan next summer. I'm really excited for it. I heard it's just gorgeous in that state over the summer. It's been cold and rainy all day here in NJ. Howkin is like the grind father. All right, that's a good video idea, Howkin, the grind father. I love that. You should think about that. How have people been doing with like teeth and everything along those lines? I feel like you're stocked. I feel like I'm getting kind of low quantity on them. Maybe that's just me. Come to Sweden and eat some meatballs. Clay, so luckily Sweden has exported their meatballs to America and our big, beautiful IKEAs that we have here. So thank you for that, and thank you for the meatballs. Let's see what we're rocking with here. Actually, I agree as a New Jersey as well. Yeah, I'm in the southeast, so obviously I'm a little more susceptible to the cold. Um, Same here in the Netherlands, it's actually getting warmer. Well, that's nice. I heard the Netherlands are in Sweden are beautiful. I know they're two different places, obviously, but I'd love to go there one day. That'd be nice. They don't taste the same. LOL, not even close. No, what I've heard is kind of the flex place is the Swedish chocolate. I've heard that's kind of the go. I know it's Swedish chocolate, Switzerland chocolate. Also heard y'all have a lot of snuffs in Sweden too. I've heard that through the grapevine. Blowing teeth and skulls, building Manimus and Cannoneers. Yeah, Cannoneers, dude. Great unit. Great boss strike unit. Yeah, obviously for like level 49 and stuff like that. As you get older, they become less. Or as you get older, as you level up, they become less viable. But yeah, Cannoneers, man. I mean, I got 32, so I don't have a ton, but they're great. Just a great little unit. I tried all R1s against the Dread today and got board wiped. Came back with 3 clads and rage. I did it once. It was a lot of retreats. It was pretty miserable. I really wish I recorded it, but I didn't. I had to retreat like 15 times before I got something going, so I didn't want to show all the retreats. But it's possible. At minimum, like if you're trying to really do this like free to play, I'd really recommend you do 2 M10s. And if you get 2 M10s, you're gonna be fine. I mean, it's gonna be a little difficult, but you'll be fine. And then you'll eventually get class, and you'll work your way up. It'll be all good. Switzerland does the best chocolate. Yeah, I've been to Switzerland before. Beautiful country. Flew into Zurich. Great area. People were very neutral there. No, it's a bad joke. Bad joke. All right, what do we got here? I have 6.5 bars done on my heaviers. What an awful grind. Yeah, what a terrible grind. Honestly, it's just not fun. I want there to be some sort of an event where I can do my heaviers, and because God, they're so mundane. I mean, they're good unit. They're legitimately a good unit. It's big tank. Like, it's not bringing anything crazy to the table. Dread paid for all the bars in the drop though. Yeah, I mean, if you get an ironclad, it doesn't matter. What was your least favorite grind ever? That's a good question. Has a ton of R6 units. I mean, heavier's got to be up there. I know people who R6 like Mr. John. R6 the garbage truck. I know that's kind of a tough one. Teeth are hard to get. Yeah. I'm also just like, I should be more proactive and should go to board Badlands and stuff like that. Yeah, dude, heaviers are just tough. I mean, obviously you want them on R6, but yeah, teeth are hard. It's hard to find the motivation to do the Raptor Ranch and not the Raptor Ranch, but the Raptor Nest and the board Badlands. Just because you can get your SP quicker here, but you do really need those teeth. Skulls are way easier to get. I agree. Heavier super and working on garbage, all front row units only. So I always do at least 2 units at a time if I'm ranking them up together. That's kind of just my philosophy. Oops, I forgot to attack with heaviers. Skulls, I do agree. Skulls are easier to get because you do have the 3 lieutenants that spawn, and those are really fun fights. I love fighting the lieutenants. Schmebo out here saying, I didn't mind doing the heavier tank grind. I was in VC most of the time tapping, so it went fast. Some good conversations there. Yeah, that's the best way to do it. You hang out with some people and talk Battle Nations while you play Battle Nations. Yapping, yeah, lots of yapping. That's okay. That's why you all come to the radio, right? You love to hear yapping. No, joking. Hey, dog. Do you all have any pets? I know it's kind of a weird transition there. Sorry, I'm just petting my dog here. He's a pain in the ass, but he's nice. You can see him in the bottom corner right there. Want to say hi to the camera, buddy? No, that's okay. I was hanging out with my hobby. You mean you were hanging with your hobby out? No, joking. Wish there was a channel for that. Yeah, I know. If only somebody made a channel. I had 2 dogs up here, a Husky and German Shepherd. I feel like you're messing with me, Schmebo, because I have a German Shepherd, so Might be a little bit of similarities there. He's just laying up against me right now. I have 3 dogs. Oh, nice. Yeah, dogs are fun. Sometimes they're a pain in the ass. 4 dogs. I have 5 dogs, actually. I'm joking. I have 1 dog. It's funny. I said I have 1 dog. Schmado said 2. Hawkins said 3. Clay said 4. That's awesome. I'll DM you a picture of the shepherd right now. It's hilarious. My dog's name is Appa. I think he's named after, like, The Last Airbender. 1 German Shepherd and 3 Moose Hound dogs. Nice. Those are some big dogs, I bet. Guess you got a lot of... this German Shepherd is a police dog. Is it a retired police dog? Is it like a failed police dog? Canine? Yeah. That's awesome. I hope you all have some good space for those dogs. Those dogs like to run around. Ours does. I wish we had a little more space for him, but we take him on good walks. We have some places we can let him run free, which is nice. He's also still a pain in the ass, though. Active duty. Nice. Nice. Well, that's awesome. Those are tough dogs to take care of, but it's really rewarding taking care of them. All right, I'm tempted. I'm going to get this 3rd bar on this bet and feel so accomplished. So, as we get closer to guilds coming out and stuff like that, we know Boss Strike will be around the corner. I gotta imagine that Boss Strike features are going to be available in game. Apologies. I gotta imagine that the code for Boss Strike will be implemented when the guild update comes out. I believe that's been discussed as the plan before, but don't quote me on that. I could be very much so wrong. But is that something that I mean, I really expect like 2 week, maybe a month timer for it. Do y'all think we go, just kind of like do you think we get a new type of Boss Strike, or do you think they kind of rinse and repeat an old Boss Strike, at least for the first one? So eventually we'll get new varieties of Boss Strikes. I know that for a fact. A top 3 TV series. That is a really good question. I mean, really boring answer. So just get ready for this. In no particular order, it's The Office. I love The Office. I love Band of Brothers. That's super sentimental to me. And my last favorite TV series. I did a comedy. I did kind of an action. I'm trying to think. Let's try and mix it up here. I mean, I can't say World War II in color because that's no fun. I used to love The Walking Dead. I kind of lost me at some point. What's another series I've been really caught up? I don't know. I don't feel like I watch a ton of TV series. And now that you're saying that, I kind of wish I had some more favorites. Definitely Band of Brothers. I love The Pacific too, but I don't want to do The Pacific and Band of Brothers. I'm hoping the Guild Shop gives us something to look forward to. Just copium. Yeah, I've been smoking tons of that copium recently. Hey, but smoking that copium is better than being, all sad and stuff like that. So it's good to get excited for things. It's good to... I like that the devs are showing that they're working on it. I feel like it feels like we're all watching them. Band of Brothers, Sons of Anarchy, and Peaky Blinders. I really want to watch Peaky Blinders. I've heard really good things about that show. I just never have, but it's definitely one to be interested in. I did like Breaking Bad at the time too. Band of Brothers is just such a fantastic show. I mean, so sad. Oh, I'm rewatching Sons of Anarchy. I watched the first season of Sons of Anarchy. I couldn't get into it, so maybe I gotta go revisit that. But that was a while ago. I'm trying to think. Do y'all watch like? This is gonna sound. If you don't know what I'm talking about, this is gonna sound crazy. But if you're in America, do y'all get those commercials for that like 911 show any single time you watch live television of any sort? And maybe that's just me, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But it also might sound crazy if you don't know what I'm talking about. No, that is not a bone. assuming that's a character. That's sweet. What you doing there, buddy? Dang, U.S. ads be wild. And yeah, U.S. ads are kind of a little bit all over the place. No, we have YouTube TV, and that was a whole deal because we wanted to watch sports, and then Disney and YouTube TV had some disagreement to where, you know, they took away the sports channels for a little bit. It's been a whole thing, but they got it resolved apparently. You pay so much money for all this streaming and YouTube TV, and it's all BS in my opinion. Cable's sometimes better. I mean, streaming's good because you don't have ads. Can you stop? Sorry. Hi. My dog is fully transitioned to being under the desk, which is awesome. But yeah, don't have traditional cable in the States, just YouTube TV. Everyone here uses Apple TV. Yeah, there's been some good programs on Apple TV. I did do a free trial of it. I believe I did a free trial of it. So, Masters of the Air. I really like that series. I'm not sure if any of y'all watched that, but it was a ton of fun. What are you whining about? I can probably hear my dog. Yeah, I got the free trial to watch Masters of the Air. I believe that was on Apple TV. That was fantastic. Well, alrighty, guys. This is going to be kind of a short one here. It's been a super busy week. Kind of just wanted to go on that spiel. Thank you for watching me grind. Thank you for hanging out, most importantly. I love seeing y'all every week. Wants to be a part of the stream. Maybe he has info on the next update. You got info on the next update, buddy? No, I don't think he does. But no, seriously, I appreciate hanging out with y'all tonight. This has been a ton of fun. I hope the new mic's working well. It sounds a little bit better in my opinion, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, guys, I gotta head off. I'm hoping we see something on Friday. Keep an eye out. I'll post something as soon as we get an update. Just keeping y'all updated about what my plans are. I'm just curious where everyone ends up guild-wise. But guys, good luck on everyone's grinds. Happy hunting with guilds. I hope everyone has a great evening, and thank you for tuning in to another episode of Battle of Nations Radio.